Jeana Newbern from Sunapee VNA and Hospice is back in studio. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning.
Just you and I today.
Yeah.
Sometimes or often you bring in guests, but
right.
Just you and I get to chit-chat.
That's right.
Been good? Been doing well?
Yeah, things are going well. Yeah, it's been a good summer, both personally and professionally. Yeah, things are good.
How was the gala? Was it last week?
It was.
Right?
It was last week. It was really wonderful. I mean, we lucked out because it turned into a beautiful evening. You know, it was a little iffy whether we'd have any rain or not.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't happen. It was probably the last cool evening of the week.
Good.
And then the heat really moved in. So we really were lucky. Beautiful setting on a field at, Ivy Field at Kobe Sawyer College, looking at Mount Kearsarge and... yeah, we just really lucked out.
Were people happy to finally get back together?
Yes, yeah, you could definitely see that, and people were voicing that it's so nice to be able to gather and see each other and reconnect face to face. So, yeah, it was really nice. We had a good group of staff there that were able to to mingle and chat with the guests, and we had well over 100 people. So It was a nice turnout. Yeah,
I'm sure for some of your staff, this is their first gala.
Yes,
because it hasn't happened in
You're right.
3 years.
You're right.
2019
yes,
was
exactly.
the last one, right?
2019 was the last one. Yeah.
Crazy.
So so it felt really good. Yeah.
It's funny thinking about like the lost time. And when you realize 2019 was the last normal year that we had, and that now seems so far back.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Yeah. And, we haven't done our other events in that period of time, too. So one of the things we did at the summer party was we presented one of the awards we normally would have presented at our Women Who Make a Difference luncheon, which also has not happened recently. So it was the Above and Beyond Award. And Gail Matthews, who's a longtime friend and supporter of the agency, she founded the Women Who Make a Difference luncheon, and she has stayed involved in the 20 plus years it's been going, to help make it happen. And anyway, so she presented the award to Annette Vogel, who's the owner and publisher of the Innertown Record.
Oh, nice.
And the Innertown Record's actually celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. So so for many reasons, of all the wonderful things that Annette does for the community and the newspaper, that was a nice award to be able to give, even if we couldn't do all the traditional awards that we might normally do at that event.
Did Annette know she was getting the award, or was she there reporting?
I never heard for sure if she ended up knowing, but somebody knew because Sasha, who's also with the Innertown Record, was there, and she had her camera, so they did. She was reporting as opposed to Annette.
That's awesome.
I think.
That's great. She does a lot of work. That's an industry I definitely would not want to get in. That's hard work.
Yeah, very hard work. Yeah, yep. And they don't have a big staff either.
No.
So she is a woman who wears many hats to make that paper happen. So
from the writing, editing to getting the ads and the
layout,
graphics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. Good for her.
Yeah.
She's a hard worker.
Yeah, she is. So that was really fun. Yeah,
well, I'm glad you guys had a good turnout.
Yeah, and then we got out again later in the week at Hospital Days. They had Meet the Chamber Night, which Sunapee Region Chamber puts on under a big tent as part of Hospital Days. So we had a table there, and that was well attended, and until a big thunderstorm came in and shut us down. But but the majority of the event had happened, and it was kind of winding down, so that all worked out.
And you guys were not in the parade, right?
We were actually,
you were?
yes, yep. So that was the third thing we did last week was just a small group of us, but we walked.
You walked.
We
walked. You didn't have a
yes,
float.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was really fun too. We had lots of candy for the kids, and always fun to, as you walk along the parade route, to see a lot of familiar faces. So.
I didn't get a chance to make it to Hospital Days this year, but pictures I saw looked like it was a good event.
Yeah. Yep. Everything turned out well as far as I know, and they had good attendance.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Kind of getting back to normal. Now, one thing that you guys are changing up this year and not doing it is the flu clinics.
Correct. Yeah. So disappointing, I know, to many and to us, but it's one of those things that we, have made the decision that we will not be doing any more of our public flu clinics. We still will do flu shots for our patients and for some of the residents and some of the partner facilities that we have. But as far as our public flu clinics that we've traditionally done at a lot of the senior centers and some of the churches and that kind of thing in the area, we'll not be doing that any longer. And we really, want to be proactive and let people know that, because we know that some people have come to kind of rely on that, or it's kind of been a tradition and a convenience for so many.
Right.
But we want to let people know why too, and it really boils down to two things: that flu shots are just not as much of an access issue as they used to be. We started doing these clinics many, many years ago, before you could get flu shots so readily at a lot of the local pharmacies and other places. So, and you can normally get them through your PCP office. So, so we feel that it's not a huge access issue like it used to be, and also just our staffing. We only have so many clinic nurses, and as I've said before, we're really focused on our foot care, which is in real high demand. So those clinics are very busy, and just trying to focus our resources where we feel that we can make the most impact. That's part of our mission. In addition to the providing the in-home services that we provide, we want to try to help meet other needs in the community as best we can. So we need to kind of always be reassessing and think, how can we best deploy the staff we have?
It does make sense because it does feel like you can get your flu shot almost anywhere now. So when you guys started it, this wasn't prevalent.
Correct. Yeah. Number one, I don't think there was many pharmacies in the area.
That's true.
And number two, a lot of them just didn't do flu shots, but now most of them do. I'm sure that you probably could get them through your primary care offices, but I think that they tend to have more readily available just because there's been a lot better education over the years about the importance of flu shots. And so more people tend to get them or ask their doctors about them. And then the public health networks too, which we're very closely aligned. They do a lot of flu clinics as well. So we're actually part of a group, and even though we're not providing public flu clinics, I'm still attending the meetings of a broader group of all the local hospitals and public health network professionals and others who do provide flu shots every year, so that we can all communicate and say who's doing what and where. Don't duplicate efforts. Where can somebody else maybe step in? And in a couple of places that we've done things before. So I know New London Hospital is hoping to do some things. So anyway. There's still good communication, and we will do our best to give people options. So when we do get the phone calls from people who are used to getting flu shots through us, we can say, well, really sorry that we can't help you this year, but here are some other places that can.
Sure.
So we'll have that on our website as quickly as we can.
And it is important to get your flu shot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've been doing mine for a while. I never used to. I've talked about it before. Like I always, I felt I was Superman and nothing could beat me. You know what I mean? And then I got the flu, and it was the worst. Having the flu was worse than having COVID that I dealt with.
Yeah.
And I know other people have had worse COVID, so I'm not diminishing that. But my flu was bad, and I'm like, I don't want this again. Right. So from that point forward, I've gotten the flu shot, and I don't really love needles, but I'll do it.
Right. Who does?
I'll just take it. Yeah, some people are, and I think it's the nurse too. You get a nurse that's really good at it, you don't feel it, and you get one that's not. It's like, ow, that hurts. But that said, since you guys aren't doing those, and you mentioned the flu clinic, I have the foot clinics. It sounds like that's been going crazy. Yeah.
And as I've said, when we couldn't do them for a few months when the pandemic first arrived, people were just calling saying, when are they coming back? Because they just needed that routine foot care that they couldn't provide for themselves. So we realized what a huge service it really was, and that was being missed. So we slowly brought them back as we were able, and a lot of the places keep saying, could we add one more day? The waiting list is growing, a few months out. And so we're doing the best to keep up with that. But definitely a high demand service, because it's just a reality. There are a lot of older people in particular that just can't do their own routine foot care.
Plus you guys have such a big area of coverage.
Right.
That, going from here to Sutton might not be easy. So you have to kind of go everywhere. Right. In every community that you serve. Right.
So we're in most of the senior centers, which is a good venue for a lot of people to get to. And so that's going well. Still doing our virtual bereavement support groups that I've talked about before, and that information is on our website. Free groups open to anybody in the community. So those are well attended. And then we also have a small group of staff who like to do education for the community. So we call it our Speakers Bureau. And there's a few topics that, if you're a civic organization or just some sort of community group or a residential community that's looking for a speaker, we can often try to provide someone, for instance, we have some of our therapists who are willing to talk about ergonomics or fall prevention. We've got a nurse, who likes to talk about heart health or diabetes management, those kinds of things. Our outreach liaisons, they're very well versed in all our services because they're often the ones that are talking to families about, our different services and what might be helpful. So sometimes people just want us to come in and talk about what are the services we offer and how do you get started, because a lot of people don't think about it until they need it. So it's, they just want know a little bit more about what's there in case they do need it down the road. So we have people, willing to do those kinds of talks as well. So I just want to throw that out there. That's a free service that we offer.
Yeah, they probably don't know how to get started, right?
Right.
Like, I've got this problem or I got this thing. I don't know what to do. And I'm assuming once people call and they talk to you guys and discuss their problems or what do they want to discuss, then all of a sudden things get easier because they know what to do. But it's just making that first step, that first call. Right,
exactly, yeah. And we do recommend that if you just don't know, just call us and we'll talk with you, figure out what's going on, and guide you in the direction you need to go, whether it's with us and our services or some other community resource. We're happy to do that as well. So, and some of our services you do need, physician referral, others you do not. But people don't need to worry about the nitty gritty of that so much as just give us a call and we'll help walk you through it and figure out if you do need that or not.
Yeah, because I'm sure you guys can be like, oh, we actually need you to talk to your PCP first. And
right.
And then refer. Oh, okay.
We've actually just produced a new brochure.
Nice.
Actually, we did it kind of during the pandemic. It was a work in progress when that started. So we haven't had a chance to really get a lot of them out there because, for a long time we weren't going into a lot of the facilities where we would often leave a lot of our brochures. But anyway, it's a brochure that's called Getting Started.
Oh.
And it talks about our 4 core services and just some of the basic nuts and bolts of each one. So that's something that's available if anybody, wants a hard copy of that, something that we can mail to people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Especially if I'm assuming some of your older demographics don't utilize the web as much as
correct
adult children would.
Right. So we do still feel there's a need for the paper information too. Yeah. So we try to cover the electronic as well as the paper.
And sometimes it's just nice to have it. To hold it,
That's true, right?
I mean, websites are cool, but sometimes it's just nice to have that brochure.
Yeah, tuck it in a folder. You know where it is when you need it. Yeah.
Yep. Talking to Jeana Newbern, like Sunapee VNA and Hospice. What else is happening? Any other?
What else? We actually are going to have a table at the Lyme Health and Wellness Clinic in September, so that'll be another event that we can be out in person at. You may recall I had a guest a couple months ago from the Dartmouth Heart and Vascular Center, Leanne Matcham, and we've been partnering with the Heart and Vascular Center on some of these community screenings.
Oh, yes.
And education around heart health. So our clinic nurse, Katie Wells, our clinic nurse supervisor, as well as Leanne from the Heart and Vascular Center, will be collaborating again at that same sort of screening event at the Lyme Health and Wellness Fair on the town green there. So, so that's coming up. I guess that's kind of what's on our calendar for now.
Yeah. I know you guys are always busy. You do have stuff that happens all the time, too. And check out the website, learn more.
Correct.
That.
Yeah.
Any big events coming up in the near future?
Our next big event would typically be our hospice dinner in November. November is Home Care and Hospice Month.
Yeah.
That's another tradition that has not happened since 2019. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can do something around that this year.
Are you guys preliminarily planning?
Not planning so much yet, just kind of in the back of our minds that, that we need to start thinking about it. But that is an in-person inside dinner that's been held at the Millstone for years and years and years. So, we'll just have to kind of see what's happening in the environment and for those kinds of events. So these ones that we've been able to do recently have been outdoors, and that's made it great. We haven't had to really worry.
Yeah, November's kind of hard to do outdoors.
Exactly.
Not the easiest.
Yeah, so we'll see what that brings, but
yeah. Well, fingers crossed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, good talking to you.
Thank you. You too.
We'll talk to you next week.
Next
Next month.
Next month. I'll be here.